Welcome to The Explainer, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled you're here, because today, we are unpacking one of the most breathtakingly ambitious philosophical systems ever constructed. We're looking at a 10th century blueprint created by the brilliant thinker Al-Farabi. And listen, what we're exploring today isn't just some map of the stars, and it isn't just theology. It's this massive, elegant synthesis that brings together Aristotelian logic, Neoplatonic thought, and Islamic theology into one seamless, perfectly ordered cosmic cascade. It's basically a profound attempt to explain absolutely everything, literally everything, from the origin of the universe all the way down to the way we should structure our city streets. Talk about overachieving, right? To grasp this massive cosmological map, we are going to use a top-down approach. So we'll cover the necessary first cause, then the 10 celestial intellects, move into the active intellect bridge, and finally wrap up with the virtuous city blueprint.
Let's jump right in. At the very top was Section 1, the necessary first cause, the origin of all.
So in Al-Farabi's system, everything has to start somewhere, right? It starts with a source that is completely independent and eternal. He defines this as the first cause, or the necessary being, God, existing as perfect, eternal, pure reason. But okay, that presents a major philosophical puzzle. If God is absolutely singular, perfectly unified, and completely without deficiency, the ultimate one, then how on earth do we get the many? Think about it. How does a singular, perfect entity create a complex, multi-layered, physical universe without undergoing any change or taking any physical action whatsoever? It's a massive contradiction, and ancient philosophers wrestled with it constantly.
Well, here is how Al-Farabi actually solves this problem. He uses a concept called emanation, or in Arabic, Sudûr. Now, emanation is not creation from nothing. It's not like a builder laying down bricks to make a universe. Instead, it's a necessary intellectual overflowing. Because the first cause is entirely perfect, its act of self-knowing is so overwhelmingly powerful that existence just naturally overflows right out of it. It's like water spilling over a cup that's too full. In the system, the very act of thinking is literally synonymous with creating. So simply by contemplating its own perfection, the first cause automatically brings the first intellect into existence. Which brings us to Section 2, the 10 celestial intellects, or the cosmic descent.
Okay, so once that first intellect exists, the sheer multiplicity of our universe really begins to unfold through this truly fascinating cascading process. But you might be wondering, why are there exactly 10 intellects? Well, this is where Al-Farabi masterfully blends philosophy with the actual science of his day. You see, he adopted the Ptolemaic astronomical model. That model posited that there were exactly 9 celestial spheres. So that's the sphere of fixed stars, plus the spheres of the 7 known planets, like Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, and the Sun, plus the Earth sitting right at the center. To move and guide each of these spheres, you need a soul and an intellect. Plus, this step-by-step chain of exactly 10 layers is a logical necessity to preserve divine unity. Since the first cause can only directly produce one thing in order to remain perfectly singular, the rest of the entire universe just has to unfold sequentially.
And here's how that sequential unfolding actually works in practice. Multiplicity begins because every single intellect, starting right with the first one, performs a dual act of thinking. It's like cosmic multitasking. First, the intellect thinks of the first cause. It contemplates God. And this high-level, perfect thought generates the next intellect in the chain. Second, the intellect thinks of itself as a merely possible being, a dependent being. This slightly lower-level thought generates a physical celestial body, like a planet, and the soul that governs that planet. So it's this continuous cascading cycle of thought that literally creates the heavens, layer by layer.
When we map out how this structures our entire reality, you can really see the absolute mathematical elegance of Al-Farabi's mind. At the very pinnacle, the first cause simply thinks, producing the first intellect. Then, in levels 1 through 9, each intellect engages in that dual thinking we just talked about. Thinking of God creates the next intellect, and thinking of itself creates a planet and its soul. But wait, what happens at level 10? The 10th intellect is totally different. It doesn't generate another celestial body up in the sky. Instead, it governs a sublunary world, meaning our world, the Earth, absolutely everything below the moon. It's responsible for generating human souls and the 4 fundamental elements: fire, air, water, and soil.
Let's dive deeper into that with Section 3, the active intellect bridge, illuminating the mind.
So zooming in on that 10th and final level, the main job of the active intellect is to actually make human knowledge possible. Al-Farabi calls this the active intellect, or Faal Akıl. It is the vital link, the cosmic bridge between the pure, immaterial divine realm and our messy, physical, earthly world down here. Think of human beings as being born with what he calls a potential intellect. It's essentially a blank slate. Or actually, think of it like an eye in a pitch-black room. The eye definitely has the capacity to see, but without any light, it sees absolutely nothing. The active intellect acts as a sort of metaphysical sun. It beams illumination right onto the human mind, allowing that raw potential to transform into an actual intellect that can finally grasp abstract universal truths. We literally couldn't understand the deeper truths of reality without this divine light switch being flipped on.
Now here's the catch. Not everyone connects to this illumination in the exact same way. Al-Farabi makes a super fascinating distinction here. Philosophers, through rigorous study, connect to the active intellect using pure reason and logical demonstration. Prophets, on the other hand, possess an extraordinarily strong imagination. The active intellect, which by the way Al-Farabi associated with the Holy Spirit or the angel Gabriel, overflows directly into the prophet's imagination. Since the general public can't always grasp complex philosophical proofs, the prophet's job is to translate these profound truths into symbols, vivid images, and the accessible language of religion. But here's the key takeaway. Both of them are receiving the exact same divine truth from the exact same source. They just process it and share it differently to help guide society.
And that brings us to our final part, Section 4, the virtuous city blueprint, the macrocosm-microcosm. You see, this whole cosmic map we've been talking about isn't just about stars and planets. It actually serves as a highly practical blueprint for Al-Farabi's political and ethical systems. To really anchor these abstract ideas, he uses an analogy of order, a sort of rule of three. First, you have the universe as a whole, which is a perfect hierarchy ruled by the first cause. Second, you look at the human body, which is a physical hierarchy ruled by the heart, ensuring all the other organs cooperate and function in total harmony. And third, you have the virtuous city. For human society to actually function correctly, it must perfectly mirror the human body and the cosmos itself. It has to be ruled by a first leader, the philosopher-prophet, who acts as the heart of the state. This leader receives wisdom directly from the active intellect and distributes it outward to all the citizens. So why does all of this matter to you and me today? What's the main thing you should take away from this vast, ancient cosmic architecture? Well, for Al-Farabi, the entire purpose of this massive system is human self-actualization. Supreme happiness occurs when our soul transcends material distractions, like chasing after wealth or fleeting fame, and completely connects with the active intellect. When a human mind reaches its absolute highest perfection, it becomes an acquired intellect, totally independent of physical matter, subsisting eternally in the realm of pure reason. It's wild to think about, but in his view, we are literally built to climb back up the very cascade of emanation that created us in the first place.
Which brings us to our final, deeply provocative thought. Because the universe emanates directly from the absolute goodness of the first cause, everything in the natural order is fundamentally good. Think about that. Evil isn't some dark cosmic force in Al-Farabi's universe. Evil has absolutely no place in the natural order. It only arises through human will. In this perfectly ordered, harmonious cascade, the only thing blocking our path to intellectual and spiritual perfection is our own choices. So I'll leave you with this. Looking at the hierarchy of your own life, what distractions are keeping your mind in the dark? And what choices will you make today to finally step into the light? Thank you so much for exploring Al-Farabi's incredible universe with me in this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.